Crypto products are unregulated and could be highly volatile. Please be aware of the risks before investing.
राज, बाबूजी के आशीर्वाद से हमने अपनी नई शुरुआत तो कर ली, पर अपना फ्यूचर प्लान कैसे करें?
बड़े बड़े शहरों में ऐसी छोटी छोटी बातें होती रहती हैं।
Looking for perfect start? Get a Bitcoin today. Download the Unocoin app.
जब मैं तेरी उम्र का था ना, तो एक सक्सेसफुल करियर, लॉन्ग टर्म प्लानिंग सब रेडी करके रख चुका था। और एक इन महाराज को देखो, पूरा दिन फोन में लगा रहेगा।
दैट प्लानिंग तो मैंने भी कर रखी है, Unocoin के साथ।
नए जमाने के साथ नई चीजें आजमाएं। Looking for Bitcoin? Download the Unocoin app.
Guys, we really need to work hard. This wasn't a good quarter. Tell me, are you happy with this?
Yes! Unocoin.
Want to earn Bitcoin? Just grab your phone and shake it. Download the Unocoin app.
Bitcoin.
Get a systematic buying plan from the Unocoin app to get your Bitcoin today. Download the Unocoin app.
नमस्ते उनोकॉइनर्स, एक बार फिर से स्वागत है आप सबका उनोकॉइन के एएम एपिसोड में। तो आज का टॉपिक हमारा जो है वो है बड़ा ही खास, क्योंकि आज हम बात करने वाले हैं हाउ टू वी एनालाइज द पोटेंशियल ऑफ अ न्यू प्रोजेक्ट। नाउ दिस इज वन ऑफ द टॉपिक्स जिसको लेकर के हमें अक्सर बहुत सारे सवाल मिलते हैं। अब ये आज का जो हमारे एम है और खास इसलिए भी है क्योंकि काफी लंबे टाइम के बाद हमारे और आप सबके फेवरेट स्पीकर हमारे बीच में है। So guys, welcome Sathvik Vishwanath, the CEO and the co-founder of Unocoin, your favorite cryptocurrency exchange. Hi Sathvik, how are you doing today?
I'm very good. How are you doing?
I'm great and I'm thrilled to have you after so long on the show.
Yeah, you got busy with other guests.
No, not at all. I mean, you are our supreme guest for that matter. So Sathvik, we obviously are going to talk about this topic, but when we talk about new projects, right? There's a very common conjecture jahan pe the things are more like, we don't trust it in the initial stage because more of lack of knowledge, and we have seen so many rug pulls in the past, even with very solid projects itself. So how do we, at the first sight know ki if the project has some potential or not?
No, see, that's actually a very, very, elaborate question, right? So to know whether the project has potential, you have to evaluate way too many things. It is like looking at a business and saying whether it will succeed or not. So it's like very similar. Okay. So when you actually start seeing a normal business, there is a lot of things you will start look at it, right? So one is what is the kind of expenses, then what is the background of older or these founders, since when they are working together, do they still continue to work together today? What about their customer base? What is the top 20% of the customer base doing, right? And what is the incentive for the founders to make that business a success as well, right? So and then it's about the market, about the market and product fit, whether what the market needs, are these people giving the exact same thing or they are trying to give something else, right? Or is it to be yet to be figured out? Probably even before this you will start bothering about, do you even have paying customers, right? So some of the startups, and they don't even have a paying customers, so they just have an idea, they want to start it, they want to hit the market, they want to go viral, and after that they want to see when they want to do the actual money out of it. For example, like WhatsApp before the Facebook was bought, right? So I don't really think they had any kind of paying customers. I mean, there was like rumors saying that they'll start charging $1 per person per month and such, but the network effect is what actually gave them the required valuation and such. Okay, so yeah, so these similar things you will have to start seeing in the normal crypto projects also, right? So one is, what are they trying to solve, right? So is there a problem that they're trying to solve, or else they are just enhancing something because one of the other project had it as a limitation? Could be just to simply put a number of transactions per second, etc., or number, or yeah, how much MB for block, or the what are the things that is possible through smart contracts. So these are the things that you actually cannot change it after the project is released, or changing it needs a lot of consensus thing and upgradation, which is a very elaborate process. So once we understand, okay, whatever they are trying to create, it actually has the meaning, then comes presently who are their backers, like who are the founders, who are the early employees, who are the advisors, and these things actually tell you, are they are they looking at long term, or if not, what does it look like, right? And then come the tokenomics part of it. So tokenomics is where you start looking at how many tokens they are trying to create, how exactly they are planning to sell it, whether how much percentage of the tokens the team is taking it, and is there any kind of vesting for the team so that they will only be able to realize that money after X amount of time, right? And then comes the community engagement. So how many people are talking about a specific project, right? So there comes the developers, right? So how many projects are getting created on top of that project? How many developers are contributing to the source code, because usually it's open source code, right? So, and also I would see the trends on things like Twitter. Whether was it like every day 5-10 people were coming up, and one fine day there is like 10,000 people. So it could be like paid followers, right? So that also is a possibility. So those kinds of things are like a red flags. So it's like you need to see the company like an object, and you're trying to see in every possible angle where things have gone wrong, where things are going wrong. Easy to miss, very easy to miss. So it is a extremely laborious process, but it definitely have its returns if you do it right? So the risk is extremely high, but you can reduce the amount of risk by just making sure that you are doing enough due diligence. And with such kind of research and due diligence, and if you are again diversifying the portfolio with those kinds of project where it was successful, this kind of due diligence is successful, then the returns is extremely astronomical, I think. Yeah.
I mean, we have seen immense amount of returns after some people purchase certain ICOs, and recently the case was with the Sui token, I believe, and
Mhm.
people purchased ICO. I think it was about a month that the price went 3x or something like that. I'm not sure, but it was something around that. I read something around that.
Mhm.
So obviously ICOs are a very good option, but Satvik, we see that a lot of ICOs, they have a very limited access, right?
Mhm.
So how does one participate? Like, consider someone like me who has a limited knowledge and doesn't know much about the parts, but I still want to explore the opportunity of getting into an ICO program.
Mhm.
So how do I do that?
See, ICO usually people do it in multiple ways, right? So it means initial coin offering, which is similar to initial public offering. Okay. So when it comes to initial coin offering, you are required to pay for it to get X amount of coins on whenever it launches. And depending upon the price of it and the team and such, sometimes it will be priced low, sometimes it will be priced extremely high. We have seen the ICOs which actually like completes in seconds. Forget about days or hours in the past. Recently, people are not as crazy as that. They want to take their time and see how the trend is going up or down, right? And it's also sometimes in good ICOs, it is difficult to get the allocation. As in, even though you want to put money, the founders or the team want to give the initial set of tokens only to the specific number or the well worthy, understood and risk taking matured investors than to retail people, and those investors again will sell it over a period of time, but sometimes they will have some clauses. You cannot sell it for 2 months, 3 months. You never know. So yeah, getting in access to the ICO sometimes for a retail investor like us may not even be possible. Okay, so you will actually have to know the founder sometimes and be able to get it. But let's say there was no such restrictions, then usually they will put that information on a website that they would have done, and they would have given something called a white paper, which is like it says what they are trying to solve and who are their team and what kind of tokenomics exist, and how their product roadmap in the future would look like. So once we have those information, they also give you like, okay, first we want to do an ICO, we want to give out 5% of the tokens in this one, and then we want to do another ICO, or maybe go for strategic investors for more money depending upon the project needs, or they may just sell it over a period of time just for marketing expenses and such things. So if they allow for the normal ICO to be purchased, they usually sometimes give an address where if you just send any kind of let's say ether, if they're accepting it, then they will once that ICO time completes, they will just see how much whoever has paid how much, and they'll pick it up and send back those tokens to the same address. So or else sometimes they'll just give a form where you have to fill it up. In the second step, it will give you a Bitcoin or Ether or USDT or whatever they are willing to take address. Once you pay, you get an email saying that, okay, we have received your money for 5,000 tokens, which was 500 Ether, 500 USDT or whatever it is. So once you have it as a proof that you have done the payment. And just actually, ICO sometimes go for about 7 days or so. So once that is over, in the form, whatever is address you have filled, you would have received the token to that address. So I have seen so many types of ICOs. See, how you do the payment and how you get the tokens varies from project to project. But the concept is that you will be buying the token which does not have much of backing, which does not have much of track record. Let's say
Agree.
you're only looking at what it is right now and hoping it will go do good in the future than what it has performed till now. So that's how we'll see it.
So, my dear audience, अब आपके लिए comment section हर platform पर खुले हुए हैं. I know this is a very interesting topic क्योंकि अक्सर ये सवाल होते हैं कि किसी नए project को कैसे पता चलेगा कि if it is worth it or not. So please drop down your questions in the comment section if you have any. Meanwhile, we'll continue our chatting on that. So, like you said, Sathvik, we don't know if the project is backed by something or not. So recently, somebody asked me this question somewhere, and the question was, as a currency, if we are putting cryptocurrency's value as a real currency, like the one we use for transactions, what is it backed by? So if you have to say this, how would you answer this?
No, see, it's very similar to how the equity works, right? So there is actually a company, there is a team, there is a product, there is a market. right? So similar to that, for ICOs, for whichever companies which are doing ICOs as well, they'll have some parts of these at least. There are times where there was a crazy ICO, that kind of trend existed in the year 2018, I guess, maybe 18, 19. So where people were really flocking onto it, and by just creating one white paper of 3 pages, people were able to raise some money and create the tokens and be done with it. So it's like that crazy. People, it was the craze was so much saying that I'm doing an ICO just to show that by ICO I can raise money. I have no idea of doing anything else. Okay, even that person was able to raise money. Okay, so it was like that. They were not even understanding what they're putting the money into and what they're getting back. So that was that was a kind of you know situation. So, but however, over a period of time, it has comparatively evolved, and now people actually ask questions,
Yes.
right? So, why it exists, what is it trying to solve, etc. And the answers to it, and the commitment, and what they want to achieve is what is maybe in a very intangible way the backing, I would say, when it comes to the tokens that they are distributing.
Yes, indeed. So, Satvik, when a project comes into the market, there's a lot of hype, like we saw with Pepe token. It just came in the market, people just went crazy over it, and apparently it became what it had the market cap that Shiba had in like what a month. So, I mean, it was crazy. So, when we talk about this, a lot of people just follow the craze, like you
Mhm.
said, there's a trend. But when we talk about the market utility, how does an investor assess the market objective or the market utility of a certain project when it's coming out?
Too tough in the very initial stages, and that's why he would have got it for cheap, right? So before it actually, and they would have done their own portfolio diversification of doing that with multiple projects, and only some of them will really see the light of the day where it actually gets used for something, right? Or else it's only like the tokens traded, and sometimes it just slowly vanishes, and its value vanishes, and it will become zero because no one is willing to buy it. So it's super tough. I think so. In spite it is tough. How do you measure it, right? So, like I said, those some 5, 6 of those factors really matter to see if there is a vested interest for the team members, for the advisors, for the founders, and the community and developers, and the real need for it, and how much money they have raised in the past, and how much they have raised it for this particular project, and if they are capable of using that money to actually deliver what they are promising,
Yes.
right? So those are the various things they will have to see if they have answers for. I have seen usually the bigger investors actually sit for an interview with those founders and talk to them, and depending upon whether they're happy about that particular project or not, it's not only that from outside as a retail person you just want to buy for 10,000 rupees. It's not always like that. If even the investor is putting a lot of money, yes, they actually sit for a longer interviews to actually question what exactly they're looking at, and what is their vision, how do they see themselves in maybe in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years,
I think
right?
that is absolutely necessary given
Mhm.
that you talk about the wave of 2018. Now, there was, I think, most number of rug pulls that happened after that, if I'm not wrong. And
Yeah, I think maybe 98% of the ICOs that happened at that time don't even exist today,
oh
right?
my
So
God,
that's kind of thing.
then we
But
can clearly see why this
yes,
kind of proper research is so much
yeah,
more
sure, of
necessary.
course.
So, when we talk about, analyzing things, of course, you mentioned some points that we should take in consideration while analyzing a crypto project. But what are the warning signs? Like, what do we see as a red flag?
Red flags, like I said, instant social media activity. It's like one thing I'll always be careful about. And then the tokenomics, where there is no vesting for the founders, so they can just take the money and they go away on day one without even working for the project. So that is something I'll actually bother about. The third one is if all they are doing is to take an existing project and changing something literally really small and try to rename that project, because most of it are open source. So that is like extremely serious in nature. If it is a like one team member company, right? And if they have advisors, what are the, I mean, if they have advisors, same advisors have advised other companies also, other such tokens also, and if they have actually done any kind of rug pulls, right? So advisors just be a part of advisory for the sake that they'll get some money. They'll not add any value. So those are like maximum numbers, right? And also where exactly is the entire entity registered, right? So it's like the domicile. If they were in Estonia, there was time then people were super scared. They don't want to invest in it because there's like no legal course. And I'll say that okay, even if it is India, do you really go to the court and fight it? It's just
Obviously
but
not.
anyway, so that is something that's again is something people should be really bothered about. And also, I would consider how much money they are trying to raise, right? See, if it is a small project, how much money it needs is kind of you can get an estimate. And if they're trying to raise 10 times more money, 100 times more money, it just doesn't work. It will be a spoiled kid, right? So let's say if you have a kid, if you give one chocolate, it will be happy. But if you give 10 or 20 of them, uh, they'll be happy, but you're spoiling it.
Yes.
And if it comes to money, the more money you give, you're spoiling the kid faster, right? So they should know the value of money. They should know how to spend it responsibly, and that only will guide the project in a more disciplined manner, right?
Yes.
And sometimes there are projects where the founders say that okay, I'm taking the salary of $100,000 a month. Okay, then like what? They just want 1 month of salary. I mean, like 1 year of salary, and they just exit. Right. So those are all the very cautious things. If everyone has invested interest, saying that everyone is working together to make a project work, and they're putting more things online than what they're taking home as of that moment, I think it'll be well. It'll be fine. At least there will be no malintentions, right? So whether the project works or not also depends upon too many external factors, including the market cycle or the utility, whatever their creators at least. But you can at least avoid the very cruel rug pulls.
Yes, agreed. So, Sathvik, when we talk about this whole community part or the backing of the project, right? There are projects that have a face to it. Like if we talk about Ethereum, it has Vitalik associated with it. So people know there's some credibility because this person has been in the space and, people just know him. Of course, we don't know Satoshi Nakamoto in real life, but there's obviously a name associated with the founder of, whosoever is the founder. But there are also community-driven projects. So if you have to choose from some new upcoming projects, there's also an option for a community-driven project, like maybe Shiba Inu or something like that. Not exactly meme one, but community-driven. Also, on the other hand, there's a big person in the crypto space or maybe the business world who's coming up with his own project. What would you rather try?
I think I'll be more inclined towards community-driven projects, given how big the community is. It cannot be like 30, 50, 100 people who are again getting paid to be a part of community and be contributing to the project, because that's not a sustainable business model, right? So people should actually feel themselves passionate towards the project and they want to actually uh, start contributing. It could be directly to the project, or maybe a project that utilizes this as a part of the infrastructure, right? So it's possible in different ways. But yeah, that is definitely required. One person's project is always risky in nature, because not that he may turn rogue sometimes, but sometimes he will have his own bias at decision making, and it may not go really well with the rest of the community, and the community could just simply split, and making everyone think that the others, whatever they're doing, it is wrong, etc. So, for example, in the case of Vitalik as well, so there was, I think, 2016 or so, there was a split of the thing. So they created on one side Ethereum and Ethereum Classic, right? So there are two things, and just because of the decision that he took, some part of the community did not agree, so they take that as ETC. So actually, if Vitalik did not get involved at all, the ETC would have been the actual Ethereum today, right? So he created a fork out of it, saying that this should be done because else it's very, very bad for the community and such. And the fork he continued calling Ethereum, and people had to follow. because they're actually looking at him saying that he's like the revolutionary in nature and such. So if it comes to if the community is really good, like Bitcoin or maybe a part of it, I think that's actually obviously better than a person project.
Agreed. I think in most cases, general public would go for a major name, major face, because it's like, okay, this person is a well-known entity in the market or something like that. But yeah, this was a myth buster for me as well.
No, this is there are some projects where initially there is a person behind it, but after it establishes some community and following and people contributing to it, they just retire. The person will retire from the project, saying that okay, I think the community is grown enough, and they'll be able to do the voting and take the decisions and develop it forward. So there is no need for me to be involved in the community and their support. So same thing has happened with Litecoin, right?
Yes.
So now there is no real face for it, but however, yeah, at one point of time there was one.
Yeah, agreed. And I think that kind of a leadership is required, I think, in every sort of project. Maybe it's the community leader which sometimes chooses to be anonymous, like Satoshi Nakamoto, of course. And
it just depends. So, I mean, even today, sometimes the leader would come out because they don't want to associate with the actual one identity,
yes,
and they may have more malintentions also, right? So it is like saying the real work of the leader is to create that community or the project or the country which can work without that leader itself. So yeah, sometimes it has happened in the past. At least in the crypto, we can see that.
agreed, 100%. So, Sathvik, there's a term we hear a lot in crypto, especially when it comes to ICOs and new projects. It's called roadmap. And, in my head, there's just one map that comes when I think about it.
India map.
India map. Could be. But then what is this roadmap and how does that play a crucial role in defining the particular project, or maybe it's, future?
Yeah, see, the roadmap generally talks about how they want the technology to continue evolving and what are the things they want to do. It is like milestones, and they give it in such a way that it is time bound, right? So today I'm launching a project. What I should have done maybe by 3 months from now, or if I want to like add a module to it, when I'll be able to complete that module and add to it, etc. So they usually prepare it for up to 2 to 3 years. So that is using the best guess and guess and estimate, like guesstimate kind of thing. So they have to do that. So to say that okay, for this particular project, I am promising that it will be able to achieve this, but it cannot achieve this today, right? So for us to achieve this, we have to break that particular path to achieve this into maybe 4 or 5 stages. And I'll do the first stage maybe in 3 months, second stage another 3, the third stage is a longer one, let's say 9 months, and again 3 months and 6 months. So which is about about 21 to 24 months of roadmap. And whatever I'm promising that it is capable of achieving today, it's actually achieves by those after those 21 to 24 months. So that thing which they are giving the roadmap, the person who have some kind of idea of what kind of efforts are required to create them will have a better understanding of, are these people fluking, right? Is it just like a just putting it on the paper, but it is not possible, right? So or else it could be simple that okay, for this one simple thing, why are they taking 3 months, right? So some people understand it. So the roadmap is kind of one of the really important aspect, and after every particular stage, a new version of the project they actually roll out, so for people to test it, right? So if they miss maybe a week or 15 days on the particular roadmap to achieve the milestone one, it could be possible. But if they don't deliver anything at all till milestone number 3, maybe no one is working on it, or maybe they failed in achieving what they're trying to achieve, and maybe it will not go anywhere, right? So it is just the timeline when they will achieve what and how they will deliver the promise that they're giving, that they're doing today. So it's roadmap.
Okay, so it's like a plan that they're putting forth, like this is how we are going to function and this is what you can expect from us in this amount of time.
Correct.
So this is how so basically that contributes towards increasing the value of that particular project over time.
Yeah, and that is also a good guideline for the founders themselves, who usually are the one running the project. So you know that when they'll deliver what, right? So that if you have promised something really big in the first quarter itself, then maybe you need to put more resources, make it work, so that that the timelines are kind of realistic. If you actually continue missing the timelines multiple times, then the people will start looking at this project as a failure. Maybe they are not capable of doing it, right? So it's having the realistic timeline is actually very, very important, and the founder should know. You see how long it takes, okay, but they should know it's achievable and how they're going to achieve it. How long you take to achieve it, yeah, that is discussable, debatable. They can always come up with an excuse saying this is what it taken, but next time we'll try to cover this time. So that all happens, yeah.
Absolutely. So, Sathvik, when it comes to new project, we see that India is one of the places with the most complex regulatory compliance over here, and that of course other countries, USA is also having some trouble with the regulatory setting of the things. So, with the regulatory part of the things, how do we see if the particular project is aligning to it, or is it, So I think, Satvik, how about we answer this question right about a 30-second break? Yeah. So, guys, we'll see you in 30 minutes. Yeah, stay tuned. We'll be right back here.
आज बाबूजी के आशीर्वाद से हमने अपनी नई शुरुआत तो कर ली, पर अपना फ्यूचर प्लान कैसे करें?
बड़े बड़े शहरों में ऐसी छोटी छोटी बातें होती रहती हैं।
Looking for perfect start? Get a Bitcoin today. Download the Unocoin app.
Crypto products are unregulated and could be highly volatile. Please be aware of the risks before investing.
जब मैं तेरी उम्र का था ना, तो एक सक्सेसफुल करियर, लॉन्ग टर्म प्लानिंग सब रेडी करके रख चुका था, और एक इन महाराज को देखो, पूरा दिन फोन में लगा रहेगा।
दैट प्लानिंग तो मैंने भी कर रखी है, Unocoin के साथ।
नए जमाने के साथ नई चीजें आजमाएं। Looking for Bitcoin? Download the Unocoin app.
Crypto products are unregulated and could be highly volatile. Please be aware of the risks before investing.
Guys, we really need to work hard. This wasn't a good quarter. Tell me, are you happy with this?
Unocoin.
Want to earn Bitcoin? Just grab your phone and shake it. Download the Unocoin app.
Crypto products are unregulated and could be highly volatile. Please be aware of the risks before investing.
Bitcoin, 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 Bitcoin.
Get a systematic buying plan from the Unocoin app to get your Bitcoin today. Download the Unocoin app.
Crypto products are unregulated and could be highly volatile. Please be aware of the risks before investing.
Okay, so we are back once again, and here we were discussing very nicely about the whole part where we know how to analyze potential of a new crypto project. And अभी सात्विक ने बहुत सारी insights दी about what to look for and what are the red flags in this particular case, and बहुत सारी चीजें. Now the next question that I recently asked from Sathvik was around the regulatory compliance. How do we know if a certain cryptocurrency project is regulatory perspective, say it's all compliant to the whatever rules are there, and if it doesn't affect us in any manner when it comes to that?
It's tough. I have not seen many projects that's happening. Many ICOs happening in India. So, and whatever is the rules of different countries where they're getting registered, we may or may not know, and it may sometimes it may just completely be unregulated and no one cares about it, and that's actually a huge issue. And we just hope that or pray that it won't blow up, right? So even if someone takes money, like say someone registered in Estonia, if they takes money, of a few $1 million in an ICO, and if nothing works, if nothing is successful, and they just use that for maybe something else, maybe they just go and buy a home. Well, what can we do about it from here? It's just like super tough. So it all comes down to the risk appetite of the investors, and here they are actually doing that bet, right? So into multiple projects, diversifying it and hoping that they just like work fine. So regulatory wise, depending upon how much money you're putting, yeah, you can do some research, or if you're putting a lot of money, maybe you can even hire a company and do the required research, like whether they're following everything or not. But if you talk about a retail investor, then it's extremely unrealistic. If you want to know maybe a particular project in Malta, whether they're regulatory compliant or not, and if you the money that you want to invest is about 10,000 rupees, what can you do about it? It's like nothing. Yeah. So we just hope that the bigger ones who are investing would have done that work, and we're just blindly trusting it and doing the investment.
Okay, so there's one comment from Tarun Mitra over here.
Mhm.
He's asking when Unocoin will launch Love Hate Inu and Robotera. So
Yeah, I mean, we will continue to look at different coins, including who else is listing it, and community and tokenization, like all of that. So yeah, maybe when we look at the next set of coins that we want to list, I'm quite sure that if these are popular, it would have been included in our list already, and if it passes our due diligence, we definitely will bring it up. Yeah.
absolutely. And by the way, Tarun, you can go check out our Unocoin website. We have already added so many new coins in the past couple of months. Maybe you would just want to explore them for a while. So yeah, go ahead.
So it's easy for people to, because writing it here probably we may not remember. So if they send an email to support@unocoin.com, there is a particular process it will follow, where we will make sure that it gets into the list for investigations and due diligence. And if it passes, yeah, you may actually see it.
Absolutely. So, Tarun, please write us at support@unocoin.com about the listings that you want us to put, on our platform, and then definitely the team is going to take it forward. So, another question from Tarun here. He's asking, please describe the near future of Shiba Inu.
I have no clue. I have actually no clue, but it's definitely widespread. In India, it has lot of foot base. I think because of some of the celebrities and endorsing it for some time and etc. So I think the biggest advantage of Shiba Inu is the number of people who hold it. If one person is holding everything, it's like no value for it, right? So I think the number of people who hold it is like extremely huge. That's kind of makes it win one or the other way worthy of it. So hope so. But yeah, of course, that community actually is like quite active community as well. The developers and such who want to add new features and all. Initially, it was just like joke. When they actually started seeing money and more people joined, it has now become a good project. It has happened for a lot of projects as well. Initially, the founders will come saying that okay, we'll be able to raise $500,000 and yeah, but we'll be able to run the company and we just do the best. Whether it works or not, it's okay, kind of thing. And if they're actually capable of raising more, then they actually have the interest to do it work. Yeah, this is like I had to take this as my like life ambition. Let me do this. Let's conclude and such. And sometimes they actually will have a extremely genuine intentions. They start the project, they raise some money, and they'll over a period of 3 months, 6 months, they'll figure out it's like impossible to achieve what they're promising. They start more looking at okay, maybe I should just quit. And because of the money that they have raised, yeah, they'll be able to take some of the money and just go away. Just like it's like tricky in nature. And these are all the kind of things where the regulators would have also thought when it comes to equity, right? So why those extremely small companies are not allowed to go to an IPO is because they will not know how to manage it, etc. A lot of scams can actually happen. And when it comes to normal private companies, their equity is not that liquid, right? So they may bring in investor, then they give some equity, and the investor who could be about 3 or 5 or 10 of them in a particular round, not like tens of thousands like ICO. So they make sure that whatever they're telling is true, that they'll do some diligence on the founders, and the incentives that they have and the roadmap or whatever they have followed, if they have any complaints against them, and if everything looks good, they want to go and do the investment and such. But when it comes to the ICOs, it doesn't work that way, because extremely small retail investors are investing a few hundreds of dollars or few thousands of dollars and such. So, but however, the bad part here is that when they do an ICO, they have access to money. That is like one part, right? And it is like without any kind of real restrictions. It's not like I get money into my bank account for the company. Yes, if I want, I really can withdraw and go, but it is not that easy to do in the bank, right? So, and because of the agreements that we have in the place and we have done the signatures and the company construction and all those things, it's in my best interest to actually make the company to grow bigger, than worrying about how can I take the money in the bank and run away, right? So the money, first of all, is not so easy to get, even though it's there in the bank account. And sometimes what happens is there is like dual signatures and all those things also, and there is an auditor who sits on top of it, right? And then the equity that, let's say, I as a founder hold, or a particular team member in a particular company hold, right? So that is not so easily sellable. I cannot say that, okay, I want to give 10 shares to you, give me money for it. It doesn't work in such simple way. It has a much laborious process, and you cannot just get away with. But when it comes to ICO, usually they raise money in crypto, so that is comparatively easily accessible. It is just in the hands of those founders most of the times, and they can actually, like, it'll take like one click of a button and run away. That is one thing. And I mean, they also hold some tokens of whatever they're distributing, which is like team members tokens. Even if that process actually starts and the company is going a little good, even those tokens are actually valuable. So they'll be able to sell that as well. So on both sides, whatever is the toughest things for the normal company, private companies, those two becomes extremely easy when it comes to the ICO based crypto companies. And this is the main reason why we actually see much more bigger scams happening here. When it comes to startups and private companies, yes, they definitely, a lot of them will fail, but they would have put the genuine efforts, try to make it work till the end. It wouldn't have, and it fails. I mean, that probably is like 30, 40, 50% of the companies. That is still okay. That's a risk money that the people are putting. But without undergoing that effort, without taking that thing, if they just like one person becomes greedy and they go away, that's like really bad thing, and that actually brings bad names for crypto itself.
It does, it does. And I think at one point of time when people used to believe that it's all about dark web and dark stuff that's happening around was with crypto, it was because of such people only, I would say. And there was a very long time for which people believed it. And not even kidding, people would not give it a second thought. They'll just think like, oh yeah, it's the dark web stuff.
Yeah,
or the
it's like
illicit activities
there's some
thing.
multi-level marketing. This felt like it's a Ponzi scheme. It's like get rich quick in a single day kind of
Yes.
thing. Or else if you put money, maybe tomorrow it doesn't even exist. Whom you want to go and ask, no one knows. So there's a lot of miscommunication and concept that was there long ago. But now it's better.
Indeed, and I think I remember watching the first thing ever about crypto where I got to learn something. The first basics of where I learned the crypto
Mhm.
about was with demystifying Bitcoin. That was a conference where Kathy Wood, Jack Dorsey, and Elon Musk, all three of them sat in a discussion to demystify Bitcoin. It was the first time I actually was learning something
Mhm.
good and the realistic facts about Bitcoin. And I think there should be more such things. Like, we keep doing these AMAs, and I know our audience absolutely enjoy these AMAs a lot. So that is why, guys, you should share it with your friends and family people, so that if they have this misconception as well, they can also learn the facts rather than just believing, oh my god, it's just a Ponzi scheme or things like that. So do share this with your family and friends to obviously clear out the confusion or whatever is there in their head that you want to clear out about crypto itself. Okay, so now moving forward, Sathvik, you obviously mentioned the things that we are supposed to look at, while analyzing a project.
Mhm.
But the problem comes with the resources. Because there's so many different sites, there's so many links on the Google. How do we know which one do we choose or which one do we trust to understand the particular thing?
Yeah, no straightforward clear answer for this. Um, so when it is like scammy kind of thing, when you try to go a little bit deeper, you'll know that it's not making sense. One thing is not getting connected to the other, right? But if not, irrespective of how much you turn around and see various things, it kind of will all start to make sense. They're like interconnected, and there is consistency in what is being said, what is being delivered, or what is being said from various different perspectives. The scammy things usually is I mean, as of today, at least with some efforts you can detect, and but the ability for a common man to detect these things is actually going down, which means the scammers are actually putting a lot of efforts to make it look like good one. Okay, so they have to see in multiple locations, anywhere, everywhere. It could go to maybe GitHub, and there are maybe discussions on Reddit, or it could be Quora, or it could be involving with their Discord community. And if they're actually, there's this community of like 5,000 people in Discord, but no one says anything for the entire day, for the entire month.
It's a
So
problem.
yeah, so it's and if you ask question as well, no one want to reply. It's like that, right? So usually asking questions help you, and I cannot even say that completely, because there could be a way where scammers would have figured out to even answer it.
Yes,
So
the bot checking
so
that
yeah,
part.
so there's like multiple ways you can have you can do. So it's actually like extremely tricky in nature. The more and more you do, it's better. But still, it may go wrong. Just diversify, I think that's all.
Yeah, indeed. Diversification is the key to, it's more like just saving your assets in 10 different baskets so that if one gets stolen, you have the other nine.
Mhm.
So that is the system why you should always, always, always diversify your assets, be it crypto or any other sort of financial assets that you are investing in. So, Satvik, with Indians, we don't want to do so much of research because all this while we have been hearing, you've been giving us pointers on how do we learn this, learn that, we go deeper, we see even, we look even further and we understand things. With Indians, that is not the case. Mostly, that is, I think, case with very less amount of financial literacy as well as because we don't want to do the research that well. So, would you suggest there's any point for a newbie investor to go participate in an ICO than get into some already pre-existing with good track record cryptocurrencies? What would you prefer?
When you say the Indians usually don't like doing enough research, I usually remember of arranged marriages, right? So they're actually choosing the right partner itself with limited research, or maybe no research sometimes, and because others are recommending it. And that's exactly what happens when it comes to crypto. You might have never heard of a specific coin or a token, because someone is doing it, and depending upon how much you are trusting that person, you may actually start putting the money. He might have actually done it because someone else whom he is trusting would have influenced him. So now you did it, he did it, and within that chain, there may be one crook who said that, okay, they just like try to sell these 500 or 1,000 tokens for me for this particular money, and you take half the money. So there is like all of those things can really happen, and because creation of the tokens is like free of cost, you would actually never know, right? So yes, doing research is necessary, but doing proper research is actually more necessary, right?
Yes.
And how do you define proper research? No easy way. So you have to just keep looking at every possible way of how you can get. So you should think that way, right? You start thinking that, okay, you are getting scammed. Okay, your job is to identify a mechanism to actually prove that you are getting scammed.
Okay.
And if you fail that, then maybe it's good. So that is the attitude you should go. You should not like, okay, I mean, if this is looking like, okay, maybe I should not even read this because I don't know what's happening, or maybe I should not bother about this because I'm not understanding. If you're not understanding, then try to figure out how to understand it in a simple words. You have, I mean, there are so many influencers and YouTube videos and and content available, which will keep on breaking down any difficult concept to such an extent that uh, I mean, it's like understandable by a common man.
Yes.
And if you are not capable of understanding still, then probably you're definitely doing it wrong already, right?
Exactly.
So, and if you're that scared and such, maybe just invest in Bitcoin and forget. So don't even go for other
Yes.
tokens. And if this concept of decentralized cryptocurrencies will continue to stay for longer and alive, it definitely reflects the price of Bitcoin. So it is like index fund kind of thing, right? So if the rest of the India is doing, then index will obviously be good,
Yes.
like that.
Absolutely. I think so. Sunny, our other founder, who you often meet on our AMAs, he told me this very nice trick to understand things easily. You know, if you're reading something, you're doing some research, you don't want to, like, you know, read those jargon words and understand them, just put your brain too much. Maybe you're just in a defocused mode. So just put that on ChatGPT, type, explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old. It'll explain you so properly. I mean, at times I've used it for so many of my researches, and has helped me to understand that particular concept, which could have taken 2 hours, just like 20 minutes or something. So, ChatGPT and AI is also a very good thing that you can utilize to understand these things. And in future, I think
Yeah,
it's going to be even better.
you can definitely personalize the consumption of content,
Yes.
right? So if you want it complicated, let's say you want it as if you want to give a presentation to someone, or you want it in such a way that you can explain someone who knows technology but not really, or someone who do not know English at all, but you want the explanation to be done in a regional language. So I'm actually hoping that someday it will actually start speaking. Right now, it's just giving us text, and I hope it will start giving the images and movies and everything, right? So for those things, today we have different services, but probably over a period of time, all of them will start coming under one platform. Like for example, how we have Google,
Yes.
right? So it's like so many things in one place, right? So in one particular. So right now it's all distributed, but I think they'll start combining together.
Yes, agreed. So, Sathvik, when we talk about the part, you know, where we see the price portion of the story, right? So, we see that it's mostly demand and supply with most cryptocurrencies, but there's also the factor of market sentiment, which is again supply and demand. It's just a broken down portion of it. So, how do we analyze market sentiment around a particular ICO? Does that affect the part where if it is going to be a rug pull, or is it going to be a proper thing, or does it not affect it at all?
So when it comes to price, one thing people should understand is how many tokens exist. Like the one really important one. Someone could so easily convince someone who don't understand. They're saying that look, Bitcoin 10-12 years ago it was like not even 100 rupees, and now it is like 55 whatever. I mean like sorry 25 26 lakhs, and it went up to 55 in like 1.5 years ago. So similarly, I'm giving you this XYZ token, and I'm actually giving 1,000 of them to you today. Okay, and you only pay me like 500. Okay, fine. You pay me like 400. And even if even one the token, that if it becomes like 100 rupees, just calculate how much money you get. So that's like an easy way to like, oh yeah, they'll just start convincing themselves that yes, this token also exists. Of course, I'm not looking at like the returns like a Bitcoin, but no matter what, this will at least be this. I mean, what is that at least be this? It is like the crazy thing. When it comes to Shiba, people start believing it will at least become $1. And how much Shiba existed? The
It's in
people
trillions,
never,
549
yeah.
trillion
So people
Shiba.
never understood that kind of money don't even exist in the world. If every Shiba becomes like $1 or anything
Oh
like
my
that.
God, that is
So
unimaginable.
yeah, and that is like something people should understand how many of them exist and how many of them are in circulation, how much of them are. It's not at percentage level. Don't worry about that. Exist. Do the calculation at the actual level itself. There are tokens where there is like only one token exists for the entire cryptocurrency, and it's only piece getting into pieces and reaching different people, etc. And there are tokens which are in terms of trillions of them.
Yes.
So it could be anywhere in between. That is the number of tokens. So only after understanding that you put them together to see like whether whatever someone is claiming to be could be a possibility or not, and whether it will at least reach something, just it's extremely unlikely. It is not such.
It's very unlikely. Unless until they
It is
conduct
not
some
such simple math.
extensive burn of tokens and things like that. Even with burn of tokens in the amounts they have token right now in existence, it's like what it's going to take a lot of years for them to burn them.
So that is all like there is a lot of marketing gimmicks again, right? So if someone is replying to you on a Twitter channel where that project belongs to, whether he is a genuine person or is just getting paid to reply. Again, in both of them, there is nothing wrong. But will it be like that forever? What if there is a day when actually no one is replying?
Yes.
Right?
Agree.
So how many people exist? How many people of them are active? Sometimes they just join the Telegram group, and there are so many ways you can actually pay, say, 10 rupees, 20 rupees, and get followers on various social media platforms. So all of them actually, and how do you know whether they paid it or not? Tough. So wherever it was, there was a mechanism to know. Then the people who are actually doing that as a scam make sure that you cannot identify it. They'll travel one extra mile to make it in such a way that it is not what it looks like.
Yes.
Okay, it's actually a good one, even though there is like bad issues. And let's say if these social media platforms come up with some algorithm saying that okay, if this happens, it's like the scam, they'll figure out another way out, right? So it's apart from saying that it is tough and they are more smarter than you, there is actually no other method of explaining this to you.
Yes.
It's
Agreed,
super, it's super tough. So they use marketing in so much various channels. It'll go maybe some advertising, and maybe sponsoring some kind of events, some kind of sports, and we have seen it all the way from even getting influencers to talk about it, and they have no clue what they're talking about, and they just want celebrities to talk about. They have no clue what they're talking about, right? And because there are followers for them, and because influencers got paid money from these kinds of projects, the followers bought that. And why would influencers just randomly endorse a particular project? They're getting paid for it.
Yeah.
And once that is done, the biggest what exactly they're looking for is if they are paying them 10 lakh rupees, for example, they know that the followers of them will maybe buy about 30, 40, 50 lakh rupees worth of tokens.
Agreed.
So it's only about how you will increase that, right? It's kind of marketing. So it's like super tough. Don't depend just on what you are seeing. Use your brains, diversify. And if you don't have that kind of time, just definitely like stay away from it, and just dip your feet into crypto by having the good tokens, which at least
Like a crypto basket, yes.
that as well, and maybe or else just restrict it to Bitcoin, Ether, and few other really good ones. And you may not get like into 100x, but at least your money stays, or maybe plus minus you will get it back someday, hopefully.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
So on that note, we'll be ending our EMA for today, guys. Thank you so much, Sathvik.
Sure.
It was so informative, and of course, till now the audience knows, if they don't know the crypto part like so thoroughly, they know what to do. Crypto basket it is. Yeah. So thank you so much, guys. Enjoy, and I'll see you next week. Meanwhile, we'll also go back and enjoy some of this nice rain.
Thank you for everyone.